provide a better business environment for international investors at the expense of local investors, and the local investor will just register his business in a foreign country and invest locally as a foreigner. This has been the cat and mouse game that Kenyan investors have been playing with the government to benefit from preferential treatment given to international investors. This, according to UNCTAD Secretary General Dr. Mukhisa Kituyi, is counterproductive for trade in the country, with a balancing act to attract foreign investment while also encouraging domestic ventures needed.
The discourse about what is viable as regulation most must be driven by the opinions of those who are most in enterprise. And the dialogue between government and the private sector is drive standards that are acceptable at the minimum, but also don't make us spend too much of the resources to be compliant. The way informal sector in Kenya, when it gets to 11 people, how it has to suffer. You have to be compliant with the city government, water address, health address, labor standards address. They must hire an extra person whose job is compliance.
He says traditional models of partnerships are not working, hence the process of a $2.5 trillion shortfall of funding for sustainable development goals in developing countries. To correct this, he says developing countries such as Kenya need to have policies that attract huge investments in sustainable development sectors such as greenfield projects and infrastructure.
The frontier of action is emerging and frontier markets, which on a risk-profit analysis have not been particularly attractive to many major investors. Third, a traditional competition to the bottom, a race to the bottom by developing countries to try to attract investors, have created prima facie very interesting possibilities, but in reality, undermining long-term viability.
Dr. Kituyi urged the country to work with the private sector to develop attractive policies that, for instance, tax businesses in environments where they make most of their profits.
Short-term profit is not as important as long-term profit. And long-term profit means you have to reproduce quality labor, you have to invest in the community from which you benefit, you must be champions of what is inclusive. And these are issues that you learn soft law making. Private sector makes soft law. It becomes easier when government adopts this as laws. They don't become bureaucratic nightmares to enterprise.
They were speaking during a KBC high-level CEOs matchmaking meeting. Nicholas Nduati, News Hour Business.